Let me explain. So I just want to start off the video by quickly saying we're back. Well, at least I'm back in front of the camera instead of just behind the camera. So I'm excited to announce that the Z build is officially about to start. So the direction that I wanted to go with for the Z build was more of this track inspired or attack style build for the car. A lot of people for the 350s especially like to do more of like a stance build or like a drift build, which is all cool, don't get me wrong, but I've always been fascinated by the Japanese time attack, the track builds with the crazy arrows, the huge wings, huge splitters, all that good stuff. And I wanted to implement that styling onto the Z. So before we get into the plans laid out for the car, I want to talk about things that have already been done to the car or that have been done to the car and have been reverted back. So in the past 2 years, the car did go on bags, which I kind of showed it in the Stance Wars video, but I didn't really like talk about it. So what I ended up running from a suspension setup was mix and match between airlift and AccuAir. So the management itself, which is the brains of the whole air suspension setup, I ended up going with the airlift 3P system, which is like really common. You see it on a lot of builds. Anytime you see like a trunk setup and you see like this is airlift on the like a little black box, probably 3P or 3H, but I decided to go with 3P because I felt like it was more of a simpler way for install, as the 3H requires height sensors and it's a lot more complicated, and I wanted to keep it as simple as possible with the fewest amount of things that could break or go wrong. On the other hand, I had for the tank and the compressor setup, I had what was called the AccuAir Endo CT setup. I've seen a couple of YouTubers go with this setup, and essentially is a setup where the compressor is housed inside the tank, so it's a super quiet setup compared to like conventional air suspension setup where the compressor is outside. And the only reason why I went with that route for this car in particular is because, for those of you who don't know, the trunk of the 350Z is connected to the cabin. With a lot of cars, you know, if you put the compressor in the tank, you can kind of get away with the noise because it's a little bit muffled, because it's a little bit isolated. While in this car, you're gonna hear every single little thing coming out of that compressor. So I wanted to make it as quiet as possible and the most headache-free driving experience that I could do. It was cool when it worked. I think it lasted about maybe a year and a half, maybe a little less than that, I want to say. But the compressor in the endo tank decided to on me, which was absolutely the best experience I've ever had. Being stuck in a park for a couple of hours, and I'll show a couple of videos, and getting the car dragged onto a tow bed, getting it home, and putting it back to stock suspension, which is what it's currently on right now. So it's been on the stock suspension for the past, I guess, year and a half, 2 years at this point. Only because for a while I did lose motivation to work on the car, and I just wanted something that worked. I didn't want to deal with any more headaches for a while, so I just took the stock suspension that I had sitting for a while, dusted them off, put it back on, and we were good to go. For the upcoming build series, I'll be reinstalling the airlift 3P setup, and this time the whole thing is airlift from the compressor, tank to management, along with the struts as well. So we're going to be installing that in upcoming videos. I did start on a trunk setup, which we will get to in a different video. Essentially the goal for the trunk is to make it clean as possible, but also make it as accessible so that in case something does go wrong, it's super easy to access, super easy to work on. Because if there's one thing I learned in the past couple of years, it's that sometimes when you build something, especially if it's a daily or a car that you drive often or you need it to be reliable, you want it to make it as easily serviceable as possible. And sometimes making it look too cool does not equate to easy servicing. So for the upcoming trunk setup that I'll be showing you later on, it's going to be a lot more simple but also elegant. So form and function, a little bit of both. But aside from the air suspension, I think I've showed you guys I think also in a Stance Wars video, I think which was the last time you guys saw my car, like in its prime, I guess you can say. I did get a Garage Mac rear bumper, which you can also see in the back, and along with a Garage Mac wing. As you guys can see, it still has the Nismo bumper along with the Saibon hood, which is still going strong. It is faded. We are going to get it re-cleared, but aside from that, no cracks, nothing like that. So now let's get to the fun part and check out the parts that we have laying on the floor. I think we'll start with the smaller stuff first. So over here we got the carbon goodies, easily accessible, all eBay. But we'll start with the first one. So we got carbon mirror caps. It's pretty common for 350s. Didn't want to do it for the longest time just because everyone else had it, but I figured, you know, if we're gonna do this overall, let's just get it and get it over with. Eyelids, so I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be using them yet, but it's something that's been laying around for quite a while, so I put it out here. So we'll see if we put them on, but if I don't, or if anybody wants it, let me know. But for now, it's part of the build, so there it is. And moving on to some gauge pod covers. So this goes like in the interior of the dash, as well as the crown meter cover, whatever you want to call it. These two carbon pieces were supplied by Masterpiece. I believe it's called Masterpiece Automotive on Instagram. They do a lot of Z and G parts, particularly carbon and titanium stuff. And so we got the carbon stuff, which by the way, looks really good. I've only like lightly test fitted these on the car when I first opened them, and they seem pretty good. So we'll see how it is when we actually like hard mount these on. And I've never officially shown you guys, but here is the Garage Mac wing. It is a carbon wing, pretty nice. These are not original hardwares that it came with, as the original ones were not good at all. So these are just simple hardware that I found around, but don't worry, we will be replacing all of these to something much nicer. The wing stand is actually really nice. I think it's like billet aluminum. I don't know, but it's definitely CNC'd. It's definitely really nice. I do plan on getting different wing stands that are like a little bit lower, but we'll see. But that's what we have for now. And I do want to mention the airlift tank. This is brand new, just a little dusty at the moment, along with the Visors compressor. There's going to be two of these. I couldn't find the other one at the moment, but there is two. So it is going to be a dual compressor setup, and I believe this is a 5-gallon tank. So plenty of air to go around. And then moving on, we got some Nismo goodies. Nothing crazy, but it's funny because even this is genuine Nismo. It doesn't look like it. I believe this is for the power steering, like it's a sleeve that goes over it, as well as Nismo drain plug. The car is getting a little old, so I did want to be careful and get something that's a little bit of a preventative measure. So it's just a magnetic drain bolt, as well as Nismo radiator cap. And I've always wanted to get this, I just never did for some reason, but Bellworks differential brace. So this mounts to the back, mounts the differential more solidly to the car, which in turn will give less wheel hop and more grip, I guess you could say. So this is one of my favorite pieces that I don't even know if I'm gonna put on the car yet, but it's here anyways. I actually got this like 2 years ago, but it's these limited Nismo lug nuts. Check this out. Let's take one of these out for you guys. Fill focus. Yeah, so this is the Nismo lug nut. This is like a limited thing. I don't even know if you can still buy it. I could be wrong, but very hard to find for the original price, which was actually not expensive at all. I think it was like 75 bucks or something. But it comes with the full set, as you can see right here, and it comes with the socket, which also says Nismo. Fill focus. There we go. It just says Nismo on it, nothing like super special, but it is like part of the whole pizzazz. So there it is, the Nismo open lug. They are like kind of small, so I don't know if I'm gonna run these, because I do plan to get the extended wheel studs as well, but just in case I do decide to run them, they are there. But what do you guys think? Should I run these, or should I just put them on display, as they're kind of like a collector's piece at this point? And you know how this car ends up turning out to be after a couple of years, so I don't know entirely if I want to ruin these, at least just yet. But Nismo lug nuts, they're here just in case. Lots and lots of dogfight goodies. This one in particular is a wheel designation system. So basically it just says like left wheel, right wheel, stuff like that. Yeah, front left, front right. It's a sticker that goes like on the barrel of your wheel. It's like a track thing, but I just got it for the aesthetics. Speaking of dogfight goodies, I do have one more to show from them. And I got their Broadway mirror, or their wide view mirror, I guess you could say. So this one has the blue tints, and this one has the full focus. This one has the dogfight logo. Pretty cool, something I've wanted to do. Pretty minor, pretty easy. There it is. Along with more interior stuff, so I got a genuine leather, so this is like real leather shift boots. Current one in the car is some suede stuff from eBay, and it is not in the best of condition. It has not held up pretty well at all over time. So I'm trying to move away from cheap suede and move on to stuff that will last a lot longer. This one in particular, I believe, is from the Z store. We'll dive more into the details when we get to the video for this particular install. So this is actually factory sun visors. It's funny how they made black ones only for the convertibles to match the black cloth roof, I guess. But these are for the convertibles. They do have lights in them as well. And I already test fitted these work, plug and play. So the point of these over here is essentially I'll be wrapping my headliner with black micro suede, which is the same as like Alcantara. More durable than suede and looks pretty nice as well. But the only thing that I wanted to do besides the black headliner was to make all the other stuff on the headliner or on the roof ceiling of the car black. I didn't want to really paint the sun visors, so I decided to find some OEM black sun visors and this should do the tricks. And these are actually leather too, so a little bit nicer than what came with the regular 350. So moving on to this side, we have the highly sought after Motordyne art pipes. Now these are used. I got these locally from a friend. He left the O2 sensors on because he couldn't get them off. But good for me because I'm gonna need O2 sensors anyways. But Motordyne art pipes, I got these for a really good deal. Alright, so now we're gonna get to the audio portion. I ended up going with the Brainiac kit. This is the Tesla style, like tablet in the center dash. I'll put a picture up somewhere. But essentially, this goes in the center, and then this goes behind the dash kit. And this is pretty much what's going to be the brains of the audio setup. Pretty simple. This all comes as a kit directly from Workshop 12. I can put a link in the description, but we'll dive into more of the specifics on what this is and the install itself in the next video, so stay tuned for that. I do plan to get other like plug and play speakers to replace some of the original speakers that are already in the car. It did come with the Bose speaker package, but I do want to upgrade it to something a little bit more modern, so we'll probably get to that in a later video. But in the next video we'll be tackling this, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so now we're getting to the more fun stuff. So to start off, the wheels. So these wheels, Advent TC4s. These are going to be 18 by 11 plus 15, I believe. It is a square setup, so we're going to be running these on the front too. I am pretty excited. They do fit. I did confirm they do fit. But the original finish of these wheels are in this like bronze color. It's actually pretty nice. But I'm just not the biggest fan of bronze, at least not for this particular car. So, like I said, I will be changing the color. So let me know down in the comments below what you guys think the color is gonna be. And the big boys. So this was the big surprise that I've been holding back for the longest time. So these are brand new Bride Zeta 4 straight from Japan. Shout out to Bride, by the way. So we got both driver and passenger seat, and we do have Bride seat rails as well that are incoming. So we'll see that in the next couple of videos. The famous glitter back. Now what's cool about these is the build quality is much better than the previous generation Bride seats. We got the carbon style fabric along with the carbon style harness holes, whatever you want to call it, but very comfortable. It doesn't, you would think a seat like this isn't like comfortable, but after sitting in it, I don't know, seems surprisingly really comfortable. But yeah, these are the Bride Zeta 4s, and we'll get to these in another video, so don't forget to subscribe to make sure you see my small butt sit in these. So I did want to put this up here because I wanted to officially introduce it, as I didn't really do it in the last video. But this is the Garage Mac rear bumper. Unfortunately, after some use, it has cracked due to a hit and run incident, so we will be getting this fixed. Until then, it's been sitting. But besides that, I mean, there's not much to it. It's a very aggressive bumper, but I think it's the best looking bumper in my opinion for the 350Z. I think it looks better, in my opinion, than the Nismo V3 bumper. That's just my opinion. I can do a little walk around of the Z as it currently sits and what needs to be done to get it back to tip-top shape. Now this video is going to be about being super open with you guys. So I'm going to tell you all the issues that the car currently has and what needs to be fixed in order to put these new parts on. So the biggest pet peeve and the biggest disappointment actually currently the car faces is the bumper itself. So I mean, the bumper's definitely had a lot of abuse the past couple of years. It also doesn't have like an undershroud or like a bottom support to support the bumper. So consequently, the tabs, or I guess like the side where it connects to the fender, starting to tear quite a bit actually, as you can see. So all that will be getting fixed as well before the show. Aside from that, the car remains exactly the same. These wheels might look familiar if you guys have seen the last video. A good friend of mine, Richard, he was running these on his Evo 9, but he sold it to a friend and now I own it, so it sits here. Unfortunately, I did hit a curb going hard and ruined the back wheel. So the backs are still these iconic Cosmos wheels. So right now the car is technically running a square setup of 9.5 all around with whatever spec size the Cosmos wheels is. I don't exactly remember off the top of my head, but aside from that, the car is pretty much exactly the same. So unfortunately, there's no way for me to cover every single part, every single plan. So as we continue with this build series, you are gonna see a lot more stuff coming in. Aside from what you see, I just want you guys to understand, this is not even everything. This is like the main stuff, but like maybe 2/3 of the main stuff. So we still got a good chunk of parts coming in for you guys to see, for you guys to come with me as I try to get it installed and ready and prepped and good to go for the show. I don't know if you guys can see that, but today is May 15th and the show is on July 3rd. So that gives us a little less than 2 months to get this all ready to go. With that being said, we're gonna be working on this non-stop until the show, essentially, pretty much, to get this car ready. But I'm excited, and I hope you guys are excited as much as I am. I'm excited to be back in front of the camera with you guys, talking with you guys, and bringing you guys along to my journey. A lot of things have happened. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys didn't really miss too much of the things that's been happening the past couple of years. But if you guys don't follow my Instagram, you guys have been missing out, because there's a whole lot of other content besides car install videos and automotive videos for you guys to enjoy. So if you don't follow my Instagram, make sure you do. I'm gonna put a link down in the description. I'm also gonna put a link right up here in your face, so you guys cannot miss it. So there it is. Follow me on Instagram. That was definitely a VQ. So without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out and stay golden.